In October 1929, the wealthiest nation on Earth woke up to discover it was broke. Not metaphorically, functionally, systematically, catastrophically broke. Trillions of dollars in wealth evaporated in days. Unemployment hit 25%. People were literally starving in the richest country in the world. And the terrifying part? Almost nobody saw it coming. The people who should have, they were too busy telling everyone that this time was different. Before we explain what the Great Depression actually was, understand this. It happened again in 2008. It nearly happened in 2020. And the mechanisms that caused it, they're still embedded in how markets work today. You need to understand this not because it's history. You need to understand it because it's a recurring pattern. And patterns repeat until we stop ignoring them. So here's the question we're answering. How does the wealthiest nation on Earth go from declaring victory over poverty to watching people fight over breadcrumbs in a single decade? The answer starts with one word: confidence. The 1920s were magic, or at least everyone thought they were. After World War I, America had factories, jobs, and something new: consumer culture. You could buy a car on credit. You could buy a radio on credit. You could buy a house on credit. Credit wasn't a warning sign. It was the engine of progress. But here's what people got wrong. They confused confidence with evidence. The stock market wasn't rising because companies were actually worth more. It was rising because everyone agreed it should rise. And when millions of people agree that something should go up, it goes up. For a while. By 1929, regular people were pouring their life savings into stocks, not because they understood what those stocks did, but because their neighbor did it, made money, and suggested they do it too. Doctors, teachers, janitors, shop owners, they were all in. Wall Street knew this was insane. They did it anyway. The system was designed to reward this. A bank would lend you money to buy stocks even if you only had a fraction of the price. You'd put down 10%, borrow 90%, and if the stock went up just 5%, you'd double your money. It felt like finding money on the street, but it wasn't. It was borrowing from the future. And then, inevitably, someone blinked. How it collapsed. It started with doubt. Small, quiet doubt. In October 1929, some investors realized that stock prices had no connection to actual reality anymore. They started selling, not panicking yet, just selling. But here's where the system betrayed everyone. When stock prices started falling, every person who had borrowed money to buy stocks suddenly got a phone call. It's called a margin call. And the message was simple: give us our money back now, or we're selling your stocks. So they sold, millions of them. And when millions of people try to sell at the same time, there's no one to buy. Prices didn't just fall, they collapsed. Stocks that were worth $100 on Monday were worth $5 by Friday. People lost everything. Not because the economy was actually broken, not yet, but because they had built a house of cards out of borrowed money and confidence. And confidence is the most fragile building material in the world. The financial collapse was brutal, but the real catastrophe came next. When banks couldn't get their money back from stock investors, they failed. When banks failed, regular people lost their savings. Not half their savings, all of it. Banks didn't have insurance. Your life's work could vanish because someone in the next state made bad bets. Factories laid off workers because no one was buying things. Workers couldn't buy things because they had no jobs. Farmers couldn't sell crops because no one was buying food. Bread lines stretched for blocks. Families packed everything they owned into cars and drove west looking for work. Children went to school hungry. Grown men wept in front of their families because they couldn't provide. And here's the part that breaks the logic most people have about markets. The economy doesn't correct itself magically. It doesn't bounce back. It spirals. Because fear is contagious. When people are terrified, they spend nothing. When they spend nothing, businesses fail faster. When businesses fail, more people get scared. The spiral goes down for years. The Great Depression really lasted, for over a decade. Unemployment stayed above 15% for almost the entire 1930s. The uncomfortable implication: the people who crashed the economy faced almost no consequences. The bank executives, they lost money. Rich people got less rich, but they didn't go hungry. They didn't lose their homes. The people who got decimated were the ones who played by the rules, who saved their money, who trusted the system. The wealthy discovered that when things get bad enough, governments will bail them out, and they did. The government had to spend enormous amounts of money to stop the bleeding, but that money came from somewhere. It came from everyone else, from working people, from future generations in the form of debt. So the system didn't get fixed, it got reorganized. Now there are circuit breakers on stock exchanges that pause trading if things fall too fast. There's bank insurance, there are regulations, they help. But the fundamental problem remains the same. We built an economic system where the entire structure depends on everyone maintaining the illusion that it's all worth something. And illusions are fragile. The Great Depression teaches us something most people don't want to hear. Crashes don't happen because markets are broken. They happen because markets are working exactly as designed. They reward people who take big risks, and when those risks blow up, everyone pays the price except the people who took them. The question isn't whether it'll happen again, it's why we keep building systems that make it inevitable.